Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to the Alertus webinar series. My name is Jamie Underwood, Director of Marketing Communications at Alertus Technologies. Today's session will provide an Alertus Emergency Mass Notification System overview, including a look at one of our new innovative products, the USB panic button. We ask that you please hold all questions to the end of the webinar. However, feel free to type any questions in the chat box during the presentation, and we'll be sure to come back to those during the Q&A at the end of the session. This webinar is being recorded, so please email marketing@alertus.com if you're interested in receiving a recording of today's webinar. I would now like to turn it over to today's webinar presenter, Alertus's National Sales Director, Brian Oakley.
Thank you very much, Jamie. And I'm really excited to be with everybody here today because we're going to cover some innovative capabilities that are new to the Alertus system, as well as some of the existing panic button capabilities that a lot of our customers and prospects that are looking at our solution are familiar with. So we'll go through and touch on the overview of Alertus capabilities for those that are new to the solution, and those that are either customers or are longtime users that have joined us. Hang in there to the end for the demo. We're going to go over what's going to be released in our August release here that far enhances our panic button capability for the desktop. So that allows you to extend the panic button how you want, where you want, whether it's a physical button or software-based panic button that can be deployed across your entire organization. So this is something that we've been asked for. We've taken some time to really understand the use cases, make that solution as flexible as possible. We'll talk through that and be able to deploy a solution that fits for your needs, for your requirements, and your priorities. So really looking forward to the demo specifically here. So quick overview of the presentation. We're going to go through the Alertus background. We'll talk about the emergency notification challenges. You'll see a lot of challenges that you'll recognize with your organization that we help others solve. Codes in demand, a combination of, the codes are opening up for mass notification, as well as market demand is out there based upon all the things that are happening, the threats to organizations, those kind of things. We'll touch on the Alertus solution, the ability to use the Alertus solution to notify people by different modes, different tiers within as the codes generally refer to, and get that message out as quickly and efficiently as possible. Then we'll touch base on some of the panic button capabilities, and then jump into the demo where I can start to show you a lot of the new functionality that I mentioned at the beginning of this intro. So quick background on Alertus Technologies. We're a pioneer in integrated audiovisual facility alerting for all hazards. That pretty much means anything that could occur on your campus, your buildings, we're able to get that message out very quickly and efficiently. We were founded in 2002 after a tornado ripped through the University of Maryland. The founders were on campus. I was living on campus at that time, and that tornado came through unannounced. Most of us didn't even know. I was over in the business school on the other side of campus. But when it did come through, it ripped through some portable classrooms, and there were two sisters that were killed. That really caught the attention of the founders and said, how can we avoid that from happening in the future? The way to do that is immediate, very quick, efficient communication. They came up with the alert beacon, and then expanded from there to integrate just about every audiovisual capability, every asset you have on your campus. So out of that tragedy really came a very strong solution for saving those lives. Since then, we're deployed on college campuses, military bases, other large facilities, including the U.S. Capitol. We see users not only in education, but also corporate, industrial, healthcare, all those markets really having a need to notify people very quickly and efficiently of any kind of threats to avoid loss of life. And also, we're headquartered in the D.C. area. We're still very closely aligned with FEMA, all of the efforts that are done around standardizing emergency communications, like common alerting protocols, some of the advances with CMAS that they're doing for wide area alerting to personal notification, those kind of things. So we're constantly up on what is the Fed's doing, what's DHS recommending, those kind of things. So just to brief overview of the mass notification systems, they're implemented to protect life indicating existence of emergency situation and communicating information necessary to facilitate appropriate response. So basically, if the event is a tornado, making sure that that's out there and notified to everybody. If it's an active shooter, which comes up very often with our customers, disgruntled employee, those kind of things, the same system can be activated and get that message out just as quickly for some of your severe and then maybe some of your less severe notifications as well. So when you think about your system and how you get the word out, you know, how do you issue that emergency notification? Maybe you've got text messaging. Maybe you can send an email. Maybe some of the technology you've purchased have features for takeover, like digital signage, your VoIP phone system, those kind of things. You could go up to your fire alarm, make an announcement, but all of that takes coordination to bring that all together. Different individuals, different departments. So really, you know, how do you activate an alert, and how would you activate everything if you wanted to activate everything, and how long would that take you? You know, when customers do tests, they generally activate their one or two top easy to activate notification modes, and the rest kind of go by the wayside because they're just too time consuming to activate. But these are all very critical infrastructure, very critical points of communicating with everybody in your buildings, on your campus, that you really want to use. And that's what Alertus allows you to do, is to very quickly bring all these things together. Even some of your non-tech items like your sound and paging PA system, the outdoor giant voice system that you may or may not have, we could provide that if you don't have one. The fire alarm system, being able to use those speakers, and we'll talk a little bit about codes, you're allowed to use those for your mass notification, but you know, the only way to activate that is to run up and click that mic. Well, that's probably low on your priority depending on where the emergency is and the ease of activation. But with Alertus, we can get all these things together, make it very quickly and efficient to activate, and not have to worry about, well, who do we need to contact? How do we activate each of those individual devices? We'll consolidate that down in the activation of your choice, be it our interface, maybe it's a text or email interface that you use. There's a lot of options for activating, right down to, I'll show you in the demo, the panic button. We can create a panic button or easy activation mode for those that are authorized to activate. We'll show you that as well. So it's really about bringing all those things together, connecting those technologies, and then coordinating an announcement from a single source so that your message goes out very quickly and efficiently. So, you know, how long does it take? I know everybody does regular tests. They run scenarios, gather feedback so that when an emergency does occur, you know your system is as effective as possible. And a lot of times we get feedback that says, hey, if we go through and try to activate everything, it might take up to 30 minutes. We'll hit the first few like email and text, but then the other ones, you know, we update as we are able to. So when seconds count, that's really not acceptable. Those active shooter scenarios, the tornado that we experienced at University of Maryland, those really need to be instantaneous, and more than just one or two modes. We need to blanket the entire campus with the message. We give you that capability with the Alertus system. Other challenges that a lot of our customers that you might recognize here are, you know, locations with no way to notify. There might not be a PA system. You might not have, you know, an on-guard staff, you know, in that building 24/7. Those kind of things to be able to notify. So Alertus provides innovative ways that are very cost-effective to notify. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through the solution map. Special needs individuals. A lot of organizations serve the public, have to serve everybody with that have different abilities. So the fact that the Alertus system provides both audio-visual notification capabilities provides for coverage of those that with special needs. Loud environments. This is a big one, whether it's just a location or two within your facility, or you know, you do manufacturing and production and those kind of things, and almost all your environments are loud. We're able to provide the visual component many different ways so that we can get that message out when you've got a loud environment, which often is a challenge if the only mode of notification you have is a sound and paging system. Once you get over 100 decibels, it's just adding more noise to the noise versus actually communicating a critical event. Also, quite often there's areas where cell phones aren't allowed or coverage is very spotty. We all have those locations within our buildings where the phone's not going to communicate to save your life. Well, you need to get a communication into those areas, either through a desktop capability, through digital signage, through OPA announcements, those kind of things, so that regardless of whether somebody has their cell phone or not, they're going to get that message. We also run into that with DoD labs, secure facility areas. College campuses a lot of times have this as well with some of their labs where they're doing a lot of advanced research, have a lot of equipment. And then also we also see this in healthcare where certain cell phones aren't allowed in with the equipment, diagnostic equipment, those kind of things. So really every different part of the market, depending on your campus, generally has cell phone challenges. So relying on that completely, it doesn't work 100% of the time. And then lastly, difficulty reaching visitors and contractors. Most organizations don't log their cell phone number, their contact information, who's on campus, when, all those kind of things. So we're able to light up the entire facility, your buildings. So if those contractors, visitors are walking around the building, they're getting the message just as if they were getting a text message or a personal notification as well. So that it's really difficult to miss, and you've got those folks covered because you want to provide them the same level of safety while at your in your buildings and facility as you do your own employees. The codes and market demand for mass notification. There's two code bodies. One is NFPA. The other is Unified Facilities Criteria. If you're part of the DoD, military, federal government, UFC applies. For the rest of us, generally, with some exceptions where like California has the Fire Marshal Code, NFPA is a major guidance for codes. And back in 2010, NFPA, instead of just addressing fire, added mass notifications, continue to advance and enhance the mass notification options you have based upon the code. Big thing being allowing you to use the fire panel voice system for other announcements outside of just fire. So that was big. We're able to now integrate into that. The codes are encouraging and providing guidance for how to implement, and then also things like risk assessments, those kind of things, to order your threats and report those and document those. So the codes are really evolving within the mass notification piece to coexist with fire. Outside of the codes, individuals now expect a certain level of safety when visit a location around the job. For our higher ed customers, that's the first thing parents ask on the tour. How are you keeping my kids safe? How are we providing safety on campus? That's part of a university's brand. Same with the corporate market and industrial. If you have an incident, it's a lot better to be able to say, we took these steps, we notified these individuals this way, than to say, well, it happened, it was a travesty and there was nothing we could do about it. So we're finding really that these events that are occurring are driving organizations to implement mass notification to protect individuals, and also at the same time, protect their brand. Also, we found that sometimes if an incident happened, and this was related to the Navy Yard, there were people that, because it was so disorderly, there was so much chaos associated with that, they were concerned about returning to that building. Last thing you want is to have anybody concerned about returning to your buildings, your facility, your business. So we're able to help put things in place that'll keep everybody safe while they're within your buildings. To kind of sum it up, bring it together, Alertus provides that single point of activation. And you'll see, and by single point meaning you can go to any of the different interfaces the Alertus has, whether it's mobile, web. You'll see within the new panic button desktop capability to be able to activate notifications. Or we could be downstream from a personal notification system you have today, like E2 Campus Blackboard, SendWordNow, Everbridge, any of the personal notification systems that we integrate with. Those might already be a process today. We're just a check mark in that cascades all your notification. So by single point really means we're providing all the options. You choose the best way to activate for your organization and your processes. Next is integrate all notification assets. You'll see this in the next slide where we're able to bring in both technology and non-technology items that produce sound, visual notification to get that message out very efficiently, all at that single touch of a button. And then lastly, we can fill in the gaps with innovative alerting endpoints. What I mean by that is I'm sure if you're familiar with Alertus, you've seen our alert beacon. the text-to-speech interface for the PA systems, our LED marquees. So these are capabilities that we manufacture. We've built that technology that very cost-effectively serve that need for when you have locations within your buildings or buildings that are underserved with mass notification. So as you can see, we kind of bring all those puzzle pieces together to make it very easy to activate. So if you've worked with Alertus or seen Alertus, you've probably seen this slide in the past. This encompasses all the different modes of notification that we can activate as part of your mass notification system. We'll start at the bottom. This is messaging coming in. You're either coming in through our web interface, which means you can go to any PC, log in, send that message. Our mobile interface, where you can go in, activate, send a message. It could also be through the API, which I mentioned through a lot of our personal notification partners. It could be an automated alert as well. You'll see here with ThreatWatcher, we're able to monitor different feeds, either external to your organization or they could be internal feeds, and send out a message based upon that feed becoming active. So in the case of tornadoes, we can connect up our system to monitor NOAA weather alerts. You can filter all the NOAA weather alerts, choose the tornado warning, the severity, the location, and have that displayed and notified how you choose. It could be a small group, or you could send that out to all your notification endpoints so that everybody's aware within that location. We also support CAP alerts. CAP is Common Alerting Protocol, and this allows other systems to interoperate out of the box. So I mentioned in the introduction that we work very closely. IPAW's Common Alerting Protocol was an offshoot of that, and basically a solution that came out of that to help unify existing mass notification systems and also format messaging appropriately so that all those systems can display that. So anything that's CAP compatible, we can connect in, make part of the Alertus ecosystem for notification, as well as produce those CAP messages if we need to send or package our message out for others. We can send that messaging out through many different modes, either Ethernet. Power Ethernets are most popular, easiest to install. We've also got Wi-Fi. That's very easy to install, especially in buildings that have challenges with doing wiring, those kind of things. Buildings that you've invested in a wireless network, instead of having to pull those wires, the Wi-Fi network's a great option. And then if you don't have network, we've got also FM radio subcarrier options to use FM radio, basically station if that's available to you. And then also site-based paging, so we can put together a small network on your campus that's just for emergency notification. Beyond that, we can send the message out to many different devices. A couple I'll highlight is Alert Beacon. That'll flash sound, get everybody's attention. Place those near entryways, within high occupancy rooms, classrooms, meeting rooms, those kind of things to get people's attention, and it'll spell out the message on the screen there. The LED marquee provides a larger form factor, so you've got those high occupancy entryways, classrooms, conference rooms, areas, those kind of things. That LED marquee works out very well, and we've got two options there. One is the traditional LED marquee, and then one that's high definition, provides for multimedia graphics as well. Another very popular endpoint is our desktop capability. You'll see the desktop. That'll be the main mode of notification and demo that you'll see within the panic button and demo there. We've got hard-mounted panic buttons and also the soft panic buttons, which we'll talk about. Alertus notification app. So this is an app that allows users to receive notifications, and that works through a push technology going directly to a smartphone, supporting Android, Apple, those kind of things. You can either download our app, or we've had some good success with customers integrating our system into their existing apps that they deploy to their students, faculty, staff, that allows you to embed the messaging capability to be able to do push notification. So that helps with uptake, download, utilization, those kind of things, which just increases the reach of your message. Digital signage and cable TV allows you to take over those screens throughout campus. The fire alarm control interface I mentioned with the codes, we can use the speakers associated with the fire alarm as part of those codes. That's allowable at this point, and we take full advantage of that with our innovative text-to-speech capability. We can also go to the next level. We can monitor outputs of the fire panel, create automated messaging, notification, pop-ups, anything you would like based upon different events that happen in a fire panel. VoIP phone notifications, supporting all the major manufacturers, all the way through to group paging, all the way through to sending messaging directly to, say, Avaya and Cisco phones. So if you have those on campus, we can put those to work as well. Public address systems, I mentioned our text-to-speech that we integrate with the fire alarm control system. Is the same text-to-speech integrates with your sound and paging systems. So these are allowable for mass notification to make those announcements. So any buildings you have that investment in place, we can utilize that. And then lastly, your outdoor areas. You want to get everybody that's out in parking lots, that's out in your common areas. We provide a giant voice system, siren, or giant voice which is delivered through text-to-speach. If you have existing systems like that, outdoors, PA systems, we can integrate with those as well. So we've got the ability to provide either a turnkey solution or integrate with your existing assets there. So that gives you a high level on each of the notification capabilities, a little bit how we integrate, how we can use those, use cases for those, and a little bit of details on how they're activated. So from here, I want to jump into the Alertus panic button capability. The Alertus panic button provides integration. It's fully integrated with Alertus suite of emergency mass notification products, can be configured to work with existing systems or products. So pretty much whether you're pushing a button, either hardwired, a desktop panic button, or a software-based panic button, you can create any notification script for that panic button capability. It can go out through any of our devices. You can section out and only go to certain desktops, beacons, make announcements over the PA system. So you can really customize all those preset alerts. So you can build those ahead of time, associate that with that panic button, and then each time that panic button's activated, it runs that preset alert. So those that are familiar with the system know there's any combination. You can customize that all the way down to just activating one devices or all, depending on which panic button's pressed. There's also custom event triggers, which allows you to automate the panic button capability with connections to NOAA weather alerts, those kind of things where an action can occur and it will automatically set off that panic button. Also with custom event triggers, you're able to say, well, if this happens, then we also want these notifications to go out. So you could send a notification to the first responders and then have a general alert go to that building that there's a situation to please stand by or shelter in place, or that there's something going on. You've really got the ability to use those custom event triggers to notify who, when, and where you want to notify based upon a panic button push. Probably familiar with wall-mounted panic buttons. These are you can put these either behind desks, you put them in special areas, or they could be, depending on your population, could be out in an area that's very accessible to activate. They're very official looking. You'll see here, and this one says emergency. You've got to lift up, push that button. So a lot of times they're treated very much like a pull station, and know that they're very serious if you activate those, and they will notify people and cause people to take action. So it's wall mounted. It's got that cover to prevent unplanned activation. One step, you're able to push that button. A lot of our customers will put that in their guard shacks, the front desk. That'll put, you push that button, it'll put the campus into lockdown. So there's no need to log into a mobile app to log into a PC. You just go run up, push that button, and the message goes out as you've planned it and set up previously. Very quick to launch, and then pressing that panic button activates notification alerts through other integrated products. Like I mentioned, it'll set off any number of our capabilities. These hardwired panic buttons can be customized based upon your emergency, which color you designated for that emergency. So we've had quite a few customers, just as you see here, put a number of them in a location where security is, so that the top critical notifications can be activated at a push of a button. There's no training needed other than to push these, to activate these. So that works very well in a security location, those kind of things, to be able to notify very quickly and efficiently. We've got countertop buttons. You'll see pictured here is our USB-based button. We have this in many different ways. The USB-based button actually activates the nearest PC, desktop, and sends that message and panic button, which we'll go through on our demo here. The messages are customizable. You can either set up that panic button to be a specific alert that notifies all. You could build that panic button for different individuals to notify first responders. There's a lot of different options, as I mentioned, with our custom event triggers, that you're able to direct that notification based upon that button being pushed, depending on where it's located, who it is, who's logged in, who's it's configured for, those kind of things. So, and you know, if you decide that there's a user or two or group of users that receive no panic button capabilities, you can turn that off as well. So some of the things you'll see, you have the option of turning on, turning off, customizing, that kind of thing. So, you know, you can don't think that just because there's a wall-mounted button, we've got a USB button and a few others, that you're limited by that. We can really, you know, integrate a lot of different buttons based upon your need, use case, within that panic button. So now I'll get into some of the more exciting stuff, and then we'll jump into the demo. So our desktop added a panic button capability last year, and this was our first step into a panic button. Every desktop user, you had the option to turn it on, turn it off, and you could configure more of general alerts. This could be a lockdown alert. This could be, you know, a press for help, and the message would go to first responders, but it would just grab your computer name, your name from your login, where you're located on the computer network, those kind of things, so that you could be found. But it was kind of limited to that. We had the request from customers that we wanted to be able to, well, we want to do desktop-based panic buttons. We want to select menus for activation if we're an activator, for easy activation on our desktop. If we're, you know, if we have certain duress events, we want to be able to have those as icons on the desktop as well. All these things that our customers have been asking for, we've added and are coming out in this next release, which I'll be demoing. So this really extends the panic button capability to the desktop and provides infinitely customizable way of deploying the alert panic button to suit your panic button needs. So you can choose to deploy it to 1 or 2 people, 100, or all. We've got the options and ability to support you with that. So at this point, the exciting part, I'm going to jump into the demo, and with the demo, I'm going to show you a lot of the things that are new to the Alertus solution. Let me go ahead and jump out of that. I'm going to bring up and log into our user interface so you can see some of these activations occurring as they're activated. You'll also see that instead of opening up the camera for the entire room and having everything go off and deafening sounds and waking everybody up, what we'll actually be doing is activating the desktop that you'll see. So each of these activations, you'll see the result of an activation of going to a desktop. I'm going to go ahead and log in. You'll see as I go across the different activations, you'll see those come across your user interface as active within this window as well. I don't want to save that. So you've got the user interface here, different activations you can create. With the panic button capabilities, we've got those. We'll go ahead and activate completely from our desktop. We won't even jump into the user interface. I'll just have that up so you can see the different alerts that are active. So here's our desktop capability. So the desktop capability allows for receivers of desktop notification to have a basic panic button capability. That's what I said. That's what I mentioned. That was innate and inherent to the system. That's been in our system for the last 6 months to a year now. And whenever I push that, that's a generic alert that could be customized to send specific information to a specific location. You can choose to have that visible or not based upon users, but that's kind of the base use case, let's call it, for panic button capabilities. That serves a number of our customers, but our customers are really looking for a lot more. With that, we provided and built a desktop-based panic button that you can deploy to users that you want to have advanced panic button capabilities. So you'll see down in the system tray next to my desktop is the panic button. There's a small icon there, and then we can also put together different quick alerts to be able to click on your desktop on different icons to activate as well for those users that may not be as used to kind of coming down the system tray and using some of the feature options. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and log in first to the settings, because this really provides the ability to pre-configure for that user who they are, a little bit of information about themselves, maybe where their office is located, where they're generally located, so that when they do activate that notification, they've got that detailed information about who they are, potentially where they're located, and more importantly, a phone number so that you can reach out to them, whether it's their cell phone, their desk phone, those kind of things they can choose, or if they wanted to all enter multiple numbers, so that when that notification goes out, when it goes to your first responders, those that watch for those panic button pushes, will have the information to take action. There's also the ability, if you're an activator, to log in. So this is my system that I'm actually logged into. So you'll see two things within this. You'll see the panic button capabilities, but you'll also see some of those presets that I have access to activate. So if you go down and you right-click on that, you can see that there's the press for help. You can build this for individual users. You can build different things, different messages. So you could say, you could build I need help, a medical emergency, those kind of things for users. Or in the case of which I'm logged in, these are actually presets that I'm able to activate lockdowns, evacuation, all clear, those kind of things, as if I was an activator. So there's really two uses. There's one, we can build it so that it's deployed to your end users to do specific notifications, or we can deploy it for your activators so that it's very easy to access on your desktop. I'm going to go ahead and press for help, and you'll see how this works. We've got this comes up. You've got the location. If you needed to change your location based upon the PC being plugged in differently, your phone number, those kind of things. We can pre-configure different incidents that users can select. So you've got an intruder, maybe a health situation. Let's go ahead and say intruder. Then there's an incident description. This allows them to put a brief description that will go out to whoever's to receive this, so that they know they've got a little bit more information to act on. So they've got the location, contact information, and incident description. So I can go ahead and hit send from there. We get a confirmation that was sent. We'll see that in a moment when I get back. And then we've got the desktop notification. This is simulating. You can have this notification go to any device within the Alertus network. So it can go to a desktop, a specific desktop, a group of desktops. It can go to alert beacons. It can go to a lot of different locations based upon how you configured that. I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge that. You'll see that the panic button activation confirmation is still on the screen for the user. And you also see the notification active in our system here. And just like any other notification that's issued, you can go in, you can bring up the history, you can look at the history and see which device is activated, who is the activator, all those kind of details. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that one. Next, I'm going to go ahead and right now I'm logged in as an activator. I've got the ability, and I see a couple of presets. So you can configure which presets you see within this menu, which ones you're able to activate on a user-by-user basis based upon their login credentials and what they have access to in their login. So I have access to the ability to do a lockdown, evacuation, and all clear. If I wanted something a little bit more simple and straightforward than going down to the icon and selecting, we've also have these icons on my desktop here that I'm able to select. So I'm going to go ahead and someone just burst through the doors, create a commotion. It's gotten to the point where I'm authorized to activate, and I see that I need to activate that. I'm going to double click on that. You've got the panic button activation confirmation, and you'll see immediately after that, intruder lockdown is in effect, proceed to a secure location. I built this just to go to my desktop. Like I said, this could go to the building that you're located based upon where you activated that, to the users that you specify. You can really build that out ahead of time, however you want. And just go ahead and cancel that out. And just to show you the all clear, I'm going to go ahead and activate that from the user interface, from the system tray. We've got our all clear preset that then goes out to return everybody to normal activity, letting them know the emergency is over, which, as we all know, is almost as important as notifying people that the emergency is occurring. Because a lot of times, without an efficient and effective all clear, people will then continue to shelter in place. They'll be scared. They'll be scared out of their minds, locked in their office till closing time, which none of us want. So the all clear is important. So we've got that in the easy activation as well. Go ahead and cancel that. And then, as I mentioned, all the reporting capability is tracked based upon a panic button, just like it's an activation within our system. So we've got an alert history, tracking of all panic button activations, details of who activated it, when they activated, where they were. So you'll see the series of activations here where we've got the evacuation order, panic button press. This was from my personal duress button, through to the intruder lockdown, which I did for my desktop, to the all clear, which I did from the system tray. And then we can go ahead and see which device is activated, which one's acknowledged. With this one, I'll jump into the acknowledgments. I just activated my desktop on my demo system here, and then I acknowledged it within 30 to 60 seconds, and that graphs it over time. So if you've got a number of activation points that activate when a desktop notification occurs, you'll be able to track who acknowledged that, who accepted that, and be able to follow up with them on actions and what steps they took. So that gives you an idea that the reporting built for emergency notification also provides you the full featured reporting for the emergency duress activations as well. And then lastly, if you're fairly new to the Alertus system, I would like to highlight the device status report. This goes through and tells you the status of every device that's configured for your system. I've got a very small demo system that I travel with here. I've got my desktop, my alert beacon. At this point, I don't have my alert beacon plugged in, so you can see that that's in red. I know that if that's supposed to be up and active, I can go and troubleshoot that, follow up with the appropriate people, and have that activate, have that come back online, and then have that visible with a lot of the statistics based upon uptime and that kind of thing. So you've really got a real-time view of your notification assets, which ones can be activated, which ones are online. So the system's fully supervised, which is important for code compliance. So that brings us to the conclusion of our panic button demo. Hopefully you've seen a few things that are intriguing that I'd like to deploy within your organization related to the panic button capabilities that are hardwired or USB. And then also some of the software-based panic buttons, which are being released in August, so this month, which will be available to deploy for all of our customers that have subscribed to our enhanced notification services supports, our ENS capability. So all of these new functions are included in that upgrade that's coming out, and if you subscribe to that support and licensing, you've got immediate access to that as that's released. So we look forward to deploying this with you if you're an existing customer, and any new customers that are really interested in deploying a panic button solution to protect your building occupants and those within your organization. So at this point, I'd like to turn it back over to Jamie, and then we'll do some additional information, and we'll do some Q&A.
Great, thanks so much, Ryan. We'd now like to open up the floor to any questions you may have. We'll get to as many as we have time for. It looks like we've had a couple come in already. Again, feel free to use that questions box to submit your questions, and we'll address those as they come in. So the first question, Ryan, at the beginning you were talking about the different types of panic buttons that are available, specifically the hardware panic button that's wall mounted. The question that our attendee has, does that panic button have a lift cover that will allow you to kind of prevent any sort of accidental activation if someone was to kind of brush by it, accidentally hit it as they're walking by?
No, absolutely. The panic button ships standard with a lift cover just for that reason, so that you can't accidentally activate it. Kind of like what would, with a fire alarm, a lot of times you either have to break the glass, open something up to be able to activate it. It has to be a deliberate event. And also you'll notice it's fairly official looking and kind of looks like it's associated with the fire system, which we've all been taught since little kids, don't touch that unless it's absolutely an emergency. So yeah, it ships standard with that cover. And then there's all kinds of different options that we can customize that button if you'd like upon request, where you need a key to activate it, or you need a key to deactivate it. Many different options, under desk panic buttons, all those kind of things to prevent inadvertent activation and or somebody that's not authorized to activate to push that button.
Great. Our next question really gets into some of the integration options, so working with some of our partners to create a comprehensive system. So this particular attendee states that they use Everbridge currently, but they're looking for a desktop notification system. So Ryan, can you kind of speak to how that integration might work, how that you can work together to kind of create a cohesive system?
Absolutely. Everbridge is a great partner of ours. There's a two-way API development, which means that the Everbridge system can activate Alertus. Alertus can activate Everbridge. So you've got many different options there. You're able to deploy that, and we work very closely with Everbridge on the desktop capability to be able to deploy that throughout your organizations, both on a very basic capability of just the full screen like you've seen here, but then also providing an option to be able to do quarter screen, scrolling, announcements, multimedia, those kind of things as well. So with Everbridge, you're able to deploy the desktop, be able to control that directly out of Everbridge, or vice versa, have a panic button that's activated on the Alertus system, activate an Everbridge notification with your either a group or scenario as well. So you can really provide a fully integrated solution with Everbridge, and I brought up on the screen here a number of our interoperability partners as well that we've got that integration capability. So you'll see a lot of the industry leaders in that space available for integration to make it easy, fit into the existing investments, architecture, and processes that you've built today.
Thinking about additional functionalities with the panic button, specifically that computer application version of the panic button, does that panic button application, can you have it installed to where the location and the phone number of the individual is automatically uploaded from, say, an Active Directory?
I believe that is an option. This being a really new solution, I'm not sure of the database customization available here, but it is included within the database, and we are able to bring that information in. So, Jamie, if you could take that question, we'll follow up with our release team, and they can detail how we can get information that's pre-populated into that system. Great.
Now, again, another question coming in specific to the panic button. You were talking a lot about how an emergency message can be activated using the panic button, but that panic button can be paired with a number of other devices to sort of enhance how far that message can travel, who it can reach. So can you speak to what other types of devices can the panic button be paired with to announce an emergency message?
Excellent question. Really, the sky's the limit. That panic button push can touch off any number of scenarios based upon any number of inputs. So, as I mentioned with our Threat Watcher capability and advanced logic, we're able to create rules so that if a panic button is pressed in a certain location, certain information is transferred, a certain preset's activated, and that message is disseminated how you have built that rule or scenario. So it's really you're able to customize which notifications are activated, when, what information is embedded in that message based upon a panic button press ahead of time. You can set that up many different profiles for different users, deploy that to different users, set that up for different hardwired or USB-based buttons. So really the flexibility in the panic button capability to notify all the way down to one device is there. And we do it just like we would doing a preset. We build the message text. We go through, we select the duration. We select all the locations we want that to go to. And then we select all the alert services and devices. So if you want to include beacons and those, those kind of things, you can really build that just like you would build an emergency notification preset. And then the rules allow you to direct that notification based upon, who and where and what's being pushed.
Thinking about the Alertus system more broadly, Our next question is asking whether the Alertus system can tie into things such as access control.
Oh, absolutely. Great question. There's two off-the-shelf integrations we have with all access control or IP video systems. One is contact closure. This is a common denominator to systems going back as far as I can remember, where it basically trips a switch, an on-off switch, and you can program your access control system to trip that switch. It's the same way they trigger door locks, open doors, those kind of things. So you can program that to be connected to the Alertus system, and then we can run a preset. So it's almost like an automated panic button. That system goes off. You've got a contact closure associated with a specific event. Maybe it's a specific door opening that's a security threat. That then triggers the Alertus system, and then triggers the preset that notifies the individuals how they should be notified. The IP camera one, this is a lot more advanced, and then some of your newer access control systems are able to go beyond just a contact closure and do a RSS feed, an Atom feed, some kind of a web-based or network-based posting. So we can point the Alertus system to monitor for specific events within those systems, and when those are posted, we'll then activate that preset to be able to notify. So an IP camera system, it might be that if there's motion between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m., you know, post a post to this RSS feed, and then the Alertus system will trigger a notification to those that need to know that occurred. With some of the more advanced facial recognition, you could even set that up so that if it sees somebody's face, it posts, the Alertus system then sends a notification. So based upon us adhering to standards and really working to integrate in as many different ways as broadly as possible, there's a lot of different ways we can integrate with your access control system and your IP cameras, depending on what system you have, how new or old it is in general.
Great, thank you, Ryan. So we have time for a few more questions, so please do feel free to submit those. I wanted to quickly draw your attention to the slide on the screen. Just let you know about a couple of additional upcoming webinars that we have. In August, we're going to have a really great webinar on emergency mass notification integration. And then in September and October, some additional Alertus system overviews. The first being on fire alarm integration. We touched on that briefly today. And then in October, we're going to be focusing on one of our more notable products, the Alert Beacon. So be sure to join us for that. You're able to do that at the website that's listed on the screen, www.alertus.com/Alertus webinar series. You can get some additional information there, and you can also register at that link. And then finally, we wanted to let you know that if you have any questions following this webinar, if you just like a recording of what we presented today, feel free to email us at marketing@alertus.com. And then always you can find additional information on our website. If you're specifically interested in learning more about our panic button solutions, you can go to www.alertus.com/panic button. So it looks like we've had a couple more questions come in, so we'll address those really quickly. Brian, it looks like we've had another one come in. You were just speaking about some of our custom event triggers, obviously more specifically related to door locks and that type of thing. Can you speak to maybe some other examples, maybe some other scenarios where customers have found that the custom event triggers have been very helpful for them?
Yeah, definitely. So custom event triggers allows you to be able to trigger off basically different messages based upon different scenarios. So you could have in the case since we're demoing panic button, you could have a panic button that when pushed goes to and notifies the first responders, but then if it meets other conditions like where it's located or who's pushing that panic button or what's included in that the body of that message, it could also touch off another activation that will notify others. So one of them that kind of comes to mind is you can build a scenario for say a lab situation where you've got a panic button for a chemical spill. That panic button, you have a chemical spill, that button gets pushed, it's probably near the washdown station, they're washing their eyes out. You want your first responders to know about that, campus officials, anybody that's running that lab. That notification goes out to those individuals. But because it was pushed from that building, It can also be set through our custom event triggers to send a notification to the building, maybe to that hall. You could really kind of limit or make that as tight or as wide as you want to notify that there was a chemical spill, to take appropriate actions to either evacuate or provide assistance. So you can prioritize and send that message appropriately based upon where that button was pushed and who you want to be notified and with what messages. So you can really get pretty fancy with the custom event triggers. Instead of a one-to-one, you push this button, this happens. We can now do one to multi-event, multi-notification with the custom event triggers.
Thanks, Ryan. And it looks like we have one final question here. Again, thinking about the system more broadly, is it possible to use the Alertus system to communicate information other than emergencies?
Oh, absolutely. Generally, there's certain modes of notification we want to reserve for emergencies. Having the alert beacon flash and sound on the wall, you want to save those for emergencies. The full screen takeover. But there are capabilities of the Alertus system for everyday communication, especially our desktop, which allows you to do a full screen or a partial screen takeover. You could do multimedia. You could do scrolling across the bottom. You've got full control of colors, text, whether there's text-to-speech spoken over the speakers, those kind of things, to be able to push those notifications out. A lot of our customers will use that as a daily use, so they're used to using the system. They're in there providing those notifications. They're not interrupting the flow, and they're not overusing emergency notification type scenarios, but also using some of those capabilities for daily messaging. The other one, which we've got a lot of industrial customers, that safety is very important. You can set up and turn off the alert beacon flashing, turn off all the notification capabilities, and just have, say, our LED marquee or scrolling put a safety message across that screen in the event that it's not being used. So we've got that system like our LED marquee. Generally, if it's not being used or anything being displayed, it shows the time and date. But you can also then configure it so that a safety message of the day is displayed on that LED marquee. So you're getting more use out of that than just emergency. Plus, in that scenario, you've got people looking at that sign for new and updated information. So they get in the habit of looking for that sign for information. So when an emergency does occur, they're used to looking there for information. And then you'll just layer on all the Alertus capabilities of the PA system. If we've got that integrated with text-to-speech, with the beacon going off and flashing and sounding, desktops, digital signage, and they'll know definitely that there's something occurring more than just the usual announcement.
Great. Thanks so much, Ryan. And we wanted to thank everyone as well for joining us today. If you do have any questions or if you'd like a recording of the webinar, just shoot us an email at marketing@alertus.com. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.